Liverpool are 11 points clear of Manchester City, 9 points clear of Arsenal, and 9 points clear of Chelsea. They are the best team in Europe right now. I don't care. No ifs, no buts, no maybes. We have just watched a side beat Real Madrid and Manchester City in the space of 5 days. That is absolutely... I can't even begin to explain how good of a side you've got to beat both of those. And this run of games, everyone said they were going to struggle on. They have smashed everybody. They have been practically perfect. They are flawless. They are scintillating, incredible. They're so, so good. And for me, they're the best team in Europe. Make sure you go down, drop a like. Make sure you have subscribed to the channel. Let me know your thoughts on the game. Make sure you check out the Chelsea match reaction as well that dropped earlier today. Chelsea battering Aston Villa. But Mohammed Salah, Virgil van Dijk, man marking Haaland out there. And we're going to break it all down. Drop a like. If we could hit 350 likes, that would be absolutely glorious. And we are, I think, less than 500 subscribers away from 32,000. So what are you waiting for? Go down and hit that subscribe button. I don't know where to start. They've just humbled City. They've just battered City. They've just... It's honestly insane. It is honestly obscene. We're talking about a side. Let me just, before I get into it, I want to break down the teams they've beaten in the last 2 months, right? They've beaten Real Madrid and Manchester City, Villa, Southampton, Leverkusen, Brighton home and away, drew with Arsenal, beat Leipzig in Germany, beat Chelsea, beat Palace, beat Bologna, beat West Ham, beat Wolves, beat Milan in Milan and beat Bournemouth. And then they beat Man United, Ipswich and Brentford. I think they've won 18 of their opening 20 games. It is mind-blowing. Like, we're talking about a side that have got the best goal difference in the league, which I think is plus 16. We're talking about a side that have just beaten 4-peat. Manchester City 4-peat. Treble winners a couple of years ago. They've only conceded 8 goals. Plus 18 goal difference. It's madness. It's absolutely madness. And Arne Slot deserves all the praise in the world. All the praise in the world. We'll start with their lineup. Kelleher. How good has he been since Alisson got injured? And there's an argument now. Do you drop Kelleher? Do you? Trent Alexander-Arnold at right back. Absolutely superb today. Doku, Nunes didn't get past him once. And when he went off, Quansah come on, and it's a similar level of performance. And that's key to a good side. It doesn't matter about the personnel, but the performance levels are good. Gomez comes in for the injured Konate. Or a lot of Arsenal, Chelsea and City fans happy that Konate picked up a knock. And you get the pairing that won the league a few years, or 5 or 6 years ago, whatever it was now, in Joe Gomez and Van Dijk. I thought they were both really good. Van Dijk was an absolute monster today. An absolute monster marking Erling Haaland out of the game. Andrew Robertson at left back. One of the passes he played in the second half was absolutely sublime. And one of the passes Trent played in the first half was equally as good. Ryan Gravenberch and McAllister in a double pivot right now is the best central midfield pairing in Europe, in the world, whatever you want to call it. Mohammed Salah on the right. We'll come to him in a minute. Cody Gakpo on the left. Really, really good. Another goal again today. He's pushing double figures this season. Szoboszlai, I thought, was one of the best players on the pitch in the first half. And Luis Diaz played up top. And, of course, they rotated. Darwin Núñez come in. Curtis Jones come in. Quansah come in. And I want to say someone else come on as well. It might have only been those 4 players. And they get an early goal, Liverpool. When you talk about, people say, oh, you know, the first 15 minutes are most important. I think that is so, so true. The first 15 minutes of each half, for me, is some of the most important stages of games. And Liverpool have got this thing now where they're scoring so, so early in games. You know, you think back to the Real Madrid game at half-time. They score early after the break. After the half-time break, I think it was McAllister. And Cody Gakpo got the goal. Mohammed Salah with an absolutely delightful ball across. And it's a simple tap-in. And we've got to start... I know we talk about Rodri winning Ballon d'Ors and Vinny Juniors. I think Mohammed Salah could do it this year. If he carries on at this form, I think people don't give him as much credit as he's really deserved. You know, it's honestly ridiculous. It is ridiculous, the numbers. You know, the creative part of his game as well. Scores the penalty today. What a pass that was. You know, Trent Alexander threads an absolute superb pass through to Salah. Salah then plays it across, and then Cody Gakpo taps it in, and it's a really, really well-worked goal. City looked nervous first 15, 20 minutes. They looked, you know, like a timid animal. They did actually grow into the game, though, from the 20th minute. I thought that City played some good stuff. They tried to huff and puff and get back into the game. They had a lot more possession. But Liverpool are so strong defensively, it does not matter. You could have, you know, 65% possession against them. I don't know how you break them down. And this is a side that's supposedly without their first-team goalkeeper as well. But Kelleher, he made a really, really good save in the second half from Kevin De Bruyne. The only mistake Van Dijk made, I thought he was absolutely superb. And then, you know, Manchester City there was quite a few yellow cards in the first half. I think Gravenberch picked one up in the 35th minute. He did really good to kind of play out the majority of the game on a yellow card. Phil Foden picked up a yellow early, and I think it was Matthias Nunes picked up one early. Manchester City put a couple of efforts wide, and Akanji got booked just before half-time, and you could see that the tension was starting to boil over a little bit in this game. You could see that Manchester City were rattled, and it was basically a very strong half from Liverpool, keeping a clean sheet, going 1-0 up, showing how organised they are on and off the ball, really strong defensively. We go into the second half. Salah has an absolute horrendous... It's not even a horrendous. The first chance come from Robertson's pass that I was just talking about a minute ago. It's a delightful ball through to Diaz, who gets his shot. I think it was saved by Ortega. I know they conceded 2 goals, but I thought Ortega actually had a relatively good game. You know, it was a fantastic pass from Andrew Robertson, kind of like a Kevin De Bruyne-esque through ball, straight to feet, breaks the defensive line. And then Salah has another opportunity where he runs through on goal and he kind of opens his body up, and you're just expecting it to kind of hit the back of the net. He opens his body up, puts it just over the bar, and I thought Salah should have buried that, to be honest. I think Liverpool had a great chance when it was 2-0. I think he missed the penalty midweek, but the sign of world-class players, even when they miss chances, they carry on until the very, very, very end, and he just carries on. They do get a penalty, and then up steps Mohammed Salah. I think it was around, the 78th minute. Just before then, they took off Trent for Quansah. Of course, they've got a tough game midweek away to Newcastle, who are at the moment don't look very good. They've just lost at home to West Ham. They've just drawn 1-1 at Selhurst Park with Crystal Palace. I'm going to be honest, I think Liverpool go there and win. I think they get 3 points. And like I said, it's a sign. We'll get to the Salah's penalty in a minute. It's a sign of a good side when you can take off, do like-for-like changes. You bring on Quansah, who's a relatively young defender, normally plays centre-back, but can slot in at right-back, and you kind of rest up Trent for that midweek game. Of course, he is coming back from an injury, and they do have an injury. Conor Bradley picked up against Madrid. He was superb midweek. And, of course, Trent comes off, Quansah comes on. He did really well in 1v1s against Doku. I don't think Doku got past him. And then Liverpool get the penalty. No doubt about it. Diaz is brought down by Ortega. And Mohammed Salah steps up and puts it in the back of the net. And this isn't reactionary because we've just watched the Liverpool game, but I don't think there is a winger in Premier League history right now. I think Salah goes down as one of the, or if not the best winger in Premier League era. He's absolutely sublime. You know, I don't know how. I think he's very, very close to breaking Thierry Henry's goal record. The assists he's got are absolutely ridiculous. Big games, Champions League final goals, 1 league titles, 1 FA Cups, League Cups, Club World Cups, Super Cups, and they could do another league title this year. He's done it under multiple managers now. He's doing it under Slot. He did it under Klopp. He was part of that unbelievable front three with Bobby Firmino and, of course, Mane. And now he's part of a front three where it doesn't matter if it's Nunes up front with Diaz or Diaz up front with Jota. He's just so good. Absolutely world class. And if he carries on at this rate and Liverpool do win the league, and maybe, let's say Liverpool win the Champions League and league, Mohammed Salah could be one of the favourites for the Ballon d'Or. He's so good. His numbers are ridiculous. In the 1v1s, the big games call for big players, and that is where he is. Shout out to Van Dijk today. I think he's the best centre-back in the world, and I thought he was absolutely... It was a monster performance in against Erling Haaland. Every single time the ball went over the top or into the box, he was there first to win it. I thought Robertson had a really good game. I thought McAllister and Gravenberch had good games. The only player I think that, I guess you could say, I don't even think a Liverpool player had a bad game. If we're being brutally honest, I honestly don't think any Liverpool player had a bad game. It's just absolutely insane. We're talking about a side right now that have just, Szoboszlai was really... They're 9 points clear of Arsenal and Chelsea and 11 points clear of Manchester City. That is... They've got the second best home record in the league. I think only Brentford have got a better home record. They've got the best away record in the league. And they are just... They're the team to beat. No ifs, no buts, no maybes. In terms of player ratings, I think... Maybe Gravenberch wasn't his usual standard, but was still very good. I think Salah, Szoboszlai and Van Dijk were all very good. It's Cody Gakpo now, got another goal. And I said midweek after the Champions League game, it might have been before the Liverpool-Madrid game, that I feel that Arsenal are the only side right now that I do think can maybe catch Liverpool, and you could probably put Chelsea in the mix there as well because they are on level points, and I think they've just gone above on goal difference. But Manchester City are 11 points off of Liverpool. They're struggling. They're not scoring goals. That's 2 Premier League games in a row without scoring a goal, which to me is just unheard of from Manchester City. They're currently sitting 5th in the league outside of the top 4. They're only 3 points above Spurs, and we're so inconsistent. They've lost 4 Premier League games on the bounce, and they've lost 6 of their last 7 games. They were 3-0 up midweek against Feyenoord and completely bottled it and fumbled it and conceded 3 goals in the last 15 minutes. And Liverpool now, just the run of games, if you look at their fixtures, like I said at the beginning of the video, the narrative was at the beginning of October that they haven't played anyone. Let's see what it's like after this run of games. Well, the run of games have come and they've beaten Bologna, Crystal Palace, Chelsea at home, Leipzig away in Germany. They've gone to the Emirates and got a point. They've beaten Brighton home and away, and one of those games was in the League Cup. They've battered Leverkusen, Aston Villa, Real Madrid and Manchester City at Anfield all in the last month, with a tough victory, being 2-1 down in the 60th minute at St Mary's, beating Southampton. And you look at the fixture they've got coming up with Newcastle United away, Everton away, which will probably be the last Merseyside derby at Goodison, Girona, and then Fulham at Anfield. I just don't see where they're losing games. I think they go to St James's Park Wednesday night under the lights, and I think they beat them. I think Eddie Howe is under a lot of pressure in his job. Girona, they could probably get a draw and still be in a very, very good position in the Champions League because they're the only side to have won 5 out of 5. I think they'll beat Fulham at Anfield. And then it does get a little bit more tricky around the end of December where they do play Spurs. Now, we are such an unpredictable side. We'd end up losing to Bournemouth and then beating Chelsea, losing to another side and then somehow beating Liverpool because that's just what we do. But they don't play a top 6 side now until the 5th of January where they play Manchester United. And I just don't see where both those sides are right now, a world in which Manchester United go to Anfield and beat them. They've won 18 of 20 games, drawing 1 against Arsenal and only losing to Nottingham Forest. They've gone to Italy and beaten Milan at the San Siro. They've beaten Leverkusen, Villa, Manchester City and Real Madrid all at Anfield without conceding a single goal to any of them in the last month. Bearing in mind this is an Arne Slot manager that's come into a new league, new style of football, new players, hasn't signed a single player. Yes, they brought in Federico Chiesa, but he's only played a handful of Premier League minutes. They've signed Georgi Mamardashvili, who will be the new goalkeeper, I believe, next season. But right now, how can you drop Kelleher? This is the argument I was having the other day. Alisson got injured against Crystal Palace in a 1-0 win at Selhurst Park. Since then, Kelleher has been flawless. Since that game was on the 5th of October. Since then, he's kept clean sheets against Leipzig, Leverkusen, Aston Villa, Real Madrid, and Manchester City. He's only conceded against Chelsea, Brighton twice, and Arsenal. And of course, he conceded a couple against Southampton. But he's kept 5 clean sheets in his last, 9 games, I think? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 clean sheets in his last 12 games. That's a sign of a top goalkeeper. And bearing in mind, he is their number 2. Now, Manchester City right now, it's a City side that I don't understand why Guardiola is consistently playing Matthias Nunes on the left-hand side. I thought they offered much better wide play when Doku and Grealish or Doku and Savinho come on. This experiment playing Nunes on the left for me is not working. I understand he's a physical player, he's strong in the duels, and he's got an engine on him, but he just can't beat his fullback in a 1v1. Rico Lewis, he's struggling playing the DM on his own. He's a right back. Phil Foden, really got to start calling him out now. He played 79 minutes, 0 shots, 0 goals, 0 assists, 1 key pass. His stats this season for Manchester City, 10 Premier League games, only 1 assist. That season he had last year with 35 games played, 19 goals and 8 assists, the PFA Player of the Year, carried City to their league title with their winning in 4-peat. This season looks an absolute shadow of himself. Just pulling out of challenges, losing the ball, poor decision-making in the final third. He looks nothing of the player we saw last year. Yes, I get he may be carrying a knock or whatever, but that's no excuse for a player that's the PFA Player of the Year. You're going to get more criticism. You're going to get judged more because you've just won the award. And at the moment, when Kevin De Bruyne is not available or he's not fit to play, Kevin De Bruyne is 32, 33 years of age now. You're supposed to be the guy that steps up, and you haven't really done a lot in the last 6 or 7 games, which kind of coincides with Manchester City not winning games. Haaland, the system that Pep's created to practically give Haaland the ball in and around the box. Well, in the last 4 Premier League games, he didn't score against Liverpool. He didn't score against Spurs. He got a goal once they were 2-0 down against Bournemouth. And let's be honest, it should have been 4-0 down against Bournemouth at one point. He didn't score in the League Cup against Spurs either. And I think he may have scored against the other team they played in between, which was, I think, Feyenoord. I think he did score. He got a couple there. But this experiment of giving the ball to Erling Haaland and just hoping that he scores, I think we strongly need to. I think he needs to move away from that. I'm not going to lie to you. I think it's not working out. They need to. This January window, they've been linked to Martin Zubimendi. He's supposed to be the guy to come in and replace Rodri until the end of the season. Of course, Rodri, he's out for the whole season from his ACL injury. I'll be honest. I'll be absolutely amazed if Manchester City finish above Arsenal or Liverpool right now. And you could even throw Chelsea in the mix. Chelsea battered Aston Villa today 3-0. They've got their next 10 games, other than Spurs, away. A lot of them are winnable. Villa today looked absolutely atrocious. Chelsea, Cole Palmer scored an absolute beaut. And they didn't even flex their muscles properly and they got past them. And Manchester City have got to have a long, hard look at themselves and think, if they can be within 5 or 6 points of Liverpool come January, and then bring in a forward to another striker, another wide player and a DM, then you could say Manchester City could, be in with a chance of still winning the league. But the fact they're 11 points off Liverpool and we're only 13 games in, it's just unheard of. And the fact they're behind the Brighton, let alone Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, they're below Brighton. And they're only above Nottingham Forest by 1 point. So Guardiola, he can sit there and hold up his 6 fingers because he's won 6 league titles. So all the Liverpool fans that are singing you're getting sacked in the morning, I just don't see where City are winning the game next. I'll be brutally honest. They've got Nottingham Forest coming up soon as well. Nottingham Forest, Nuno Espirito Santo will set up a counter-attacking style at the Etihad. Then they've got Crystal Palace who are fighting for their lives. Then they've got Juventus away, Aston Villa away, Manchester United in the derby, Ruben Amorim, won 4-0 today against Everton. It wouldn't surprise me if Manchester City don't win a game in the next 2 or 3. But look, make sure you drop a like, make sure you have subscribed, and I'll see you all in the next one. I'm out.